Hello and welcome to this Piney News special update, October 9th. We have this Long Island Railroad derailment that happened last night, and it is still causing a major problem on the main line. This derailment basically happened last night. It was actually the 8:22 train from Penn Station to Huntington, and this train, basically what happened was it was traveling east, and there was a work train car right next to that train traveling east in the same direction on a separate track. It was on a separate track. But from what I understand, there was something with the switch, and the work train started to move toward the eastbound train. Well, they were both eastbound, but they started moving toward each other and basically sideswiped each other. And the work train caught into the electric train and caused 3 cars to derail. And 2 cars appear to be a total loss. And I believe the work train probably is too, because the work train also was derailed and thrown off the tracks. This happened east of New Hyde Park. And so this is a major problem that's occurring, and it probably is going to be a major problem into tomorrow morning as well. So Governor Cuomo says the Long Island Railroad train derailment was likely caused by a work train violation. It appears that the work train was violating the space from the revenue train, and that the work train was overlapping into the clearance area of that train, and that's what caused the side swap and caused the derailment. And you can see the yellow paint on there. And there are quite a few injuries. I mean, let's see here. We have 33 people injured, 26 were passengers, and 7 were workers, including the 2 on the work train. While none of the injuries were considered life-threatening, 1 passenger suffered multiple broken bones that required surgery Saturday night. It's a miracle that no one was killed from this. That's all I have to say. And just another serious problem in a long line of problems that seems to be affecting all the railroads. It's not just, empty Long Island Railroad. You had problems at Metro North in the past couple of years. Now you have problems at New Jersey Transit, and now this on the Long Island Railroad. It's clear that the infrastructure is in serious problems, but we also have a culture, I think, of the safety is not really taking priority here. Why was that work train violating the space of the revenue train? That is something that really should be taken into consideration. So right now, what we have is service remains suspended on the main line. That means that there is no regular Oyster Bay, Ronkonkoma, or Port Jefferson Huntington service. What is going on is that the Long Island Railroad has, I'll read this right from the website here. This is from the Long Island Railroad MTA website on the Port Jefferson Huntington branch. Port Jefferson Hicksville customers. The LIRR has limited alternate service to from stations Hicksville through Port Jefferson, with a diesel shuttle train operating between Hicksville and Babylon, and then train transfers at Hicksville to and from Huntington and points east. Westbound customers will take a train to Hicksville. There they will board a diesel train to Babylon, which will travel along the central branch. At Babylon, you transfer to a westbound train to New York. Eastbound customers take a train to Babylon. There they will board the diesel train to Hicksville, which will travel along the central branch. At Hicksville, transfer to an eastbound train to Huntington and points east. To avoid delays, customers are advised to use the Montauk or Babylon branches. Westbury, New Hyde Park through New Hyde Park customers. The Long Island Railroad is providing limited bus service between Jamaica and New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Mineola, Carl Place, and Westbury. Westbound customers will take a bus to Jamaica and then transfer to trains for service to points west. Eastbound customers take a train to Jamaica, and there will be a bus for service to New Hyde Park, Maryland Avenue, Mineola, Carl Place, and Westbury. To avoid busing and delays, customers are advised to use the Hempstead branch. The Ronkonkoma branch. The LIRR has limited alternate service to and from stations Hicksville through Ronkonkoma with a diesel shuttle train that will operate between Hicksville and Babylon, and then train transfers at Hicksville to and from Ronkonkoma. Westbound customers will take a train from Hicksville from Ronkonkoma to Hicksville. There they will board a diesel train to Babylon, which will travel along the central branch. at Babylon transfer to a westbound train to New York. Eastbound customers should take a train to Babylon. There they will board a diesel train to Hicksville, which will travel along the central branch. At Hicksville, transfer to an eastbound train to Ronkonkoma. To avoid delays, customers are advised to use the Montauk or Babylon branches. And on the Oyster Bay branch, there is limited bus service, which will replace some trains. Customers are advised to use the Port Washington branch at this time. And then it says, lastly, to avoid delays, customers are advised to use alternate branches, including the Babylon, Montauk, Hempstead, and Port Washington branches, which are operating normally. West Hempstead, Long Beach, and Far Rockaway branches are also operating on normal weekend schedules. So that is what is going on from the MTA site. So this is a real mess, basically, and it always seems like on the Long Island Railroad, it's always the main line that has problems, that has these catastrophic problems. You remember last year we had that freight derailment that happened between Hicksville and Westbury, and then you had the freight derailment that occurred in the Ronkonkoma branch around Pine Lawn and Wyandanch. And yet you never hear about anything catastrophic happening on the Babylon branch. It almost never happens there. I can't remember when there's been a service disruption on the Babylon branch that affected service for a period of 12 hours or greater. I just don't ever remember that. Those Babylon branch, I'm telling you, the Long Island Railroad plays favorites with the Babylon branch. I'll continue to say it. They kind of even admitted it themselves that they do. Because of the Wall Street money that lives on that branch. They're getting the concrete ties now, I think out to Freeport or maybe even Wantaw. They're going to eventually have all concrete ties on the Babylon branch. Meanwhile, the main line has these old wooden ties, and when you ride the main line, particularly in this area where this derailment happened, it's kind of rough. Why aren't they putting concrete ties on the main line? The main line sees a lot more trains than the Babylon branch. There's a lot more diesels, a lot more freight. Shouldn't we have the better ties? Why are we getting inferior stuff? This is something that all needs to be investigated. The federal, obviously the NTSB is going to investigate this, and there'll be a report again. But this is just another example of the favoritism that goes on with the Long Island Railroad. So let's talk about where it is right now. Earlier this afternoon, I was at Hicksville, and what it appears, and according to what they say, they have an alternate service map too, which I'll put in this video here. What it is they're running, the Huntington trains are Port Jefferson diesels that are running to Hicksville, and then they go to Hicksville, and then they head back out to Port Jefferson. Then they have a shuttle train that operates on the central branch that's running between Hicksville, making stops only at Hicksville and Babylon. And then they have the Ronkonkoma train, which is an electric train, which is running between Ronkonkoma and Hicksville. And that is how they do it. So basically, you get to Hicksville, that's your main transfer point. You have to go back east, take the central branch to Babylon. Obviously, this is resulting in some crowding. You'll see the trains are pretty crowded. So let's now take a look at what it was like this afternoon in Hicksville. Okay, so we are at Hicksville train station, and we have two diesels here and one electric on the south track. And what's going on, I don't see any buses here, but what's going on is they are having the diesel trains run via the central branch to Babylon to connect up with westbound electric service. There's no schedule for this service that I can find on the website. So there's no schedule provided. And this is what they have right now. And then they put that up, which is useless. So we don't know exactly what's going on here, but I'll just show you what's going on. We'll go upstairs. We have a minute or two to show you. So the signs don't work. They're not really providing much information. You don't know what trains are going where. All right, that's the Ronkonkoma train there. So I'm guessing it's going to leave around its Ronkonkoma time, which is 3:55. And so they're going to go east. This train goes west. If that goes south on the central branch, or that goes to Port Jefferson, I don't know. These trains are pretty crowded, I'll tell you that. This one's going via the central branch, I guess. This is probably a westbound train here. Westbound via the central branch, meaning it's actually going to go east. There's another one over here. There's no schedule. They're not telling people what times the trains are leaving. I don't know which way this one is going. If that's a Huntington one or not. So, because they're probably running Port Jefferson.
And Eastbound local Ronkonkoma trains will depart on number 3 track. There's also limited service to Babylon on number 2 track.
Okay, so this one goes to Huntington, Port Jeff. This one goes to via the central branch to Babylon, and that electric train you saw is the Ronkonkoma train. Craziness.
Belmont, I can go straight to New York. How far is Belmont from here?
Yeah, I'm just curious, are they providing any bus service between here and Westbury or no?
There's a yellow bus outside.
Okay, I don't need it now, but I might need it later.
I don't know if
You don't know what the schedule is, though. There's no schedule for anything.
correct, because it was a catastrophic.
I know.
Planned track work.
Okay, thanks. They're using school buses. I guess we don't get any coach buses in the city. So as you can see, we had some crowding on the trains, obviously, and no schedules to speak of. I mean, they're not putting out schedules. You know, there's no order at all. It's just coming and going as whenever possible, I guess. There's no schedules being made. It appeared that the Ronkonkoma train left going east at its scheduled time. But no schedules, and as far as the busing goes, as you saw, they were just like basically using cheese buses. So that is what's going on with that. This is a mess. So I'm going to look at the Long Island Railroad's Facebook page and see what is going on over there. So let's see what we have. All right, it says here's the latest about the status for tomorrow. LIRR hopeful about restoring some service on the main line following derailment. Customers encouraged to consider alternatives during Monday morning commute. Service currently remains suspended between Hicksville and Jamaica as crews work around the clock to re-rail the train. MTA Long Island Railroad crews have begun removing cars of a derailed train from the site of a derailment Saturday evening east of Hyde Park. While the Long Island Railroad is hopeful that it will be able to restore some service for Monday morning's commute, Long Island commute customers are urged to use the Babylon, Hempstead, Port Washington, and Montauk branches tomorrow as alternatives to the Ronkonkoma, Port Jefferson, and Oyster Bay branches. Crews will continue to work around the clock to re-rail the damaged train cars and move them from the site of the derailment. Then they will assess the track conditions and make all necessary track repairs in an effort to restore partial service on that stretch of track in time for Monday morning's commute. There's a strong possibility that we'll be able to restore one of our 2 mainline tracks for passenger trains tomorrow morning, said Patrick Nowakowski, president of the Long Island Railroad, who's overseeing the service restoration efforts and track repairs. However, customers should consider other branches as alternatives. If the Long Island Railroad can restore service to one track, service will still be unfortunately reduced with a number of canceled trains. Customers could experience delays of up to 20 to 30 minutes and increased crowding. The Long Island Railroad urges its customers who use those 3 affected branches to gather information about transportation status and options on Monday morning before heading out. The Long Island Railroad will update customers in these ways. All right, so basically Twitter, Train Time, Facebook, and news media, as well as I guess some radio stations as well. But anyway, this is a huge problem, and they are working on it. But it is disturbing that all these incidents are happening all at once. But I think that they should be doing a better job here providing information as far as the schedules that the service that they have is running right now. And they should also be doing a better job with the buses. I fortunately did see some buses in Westbury tonight, which was good. But earlier this afternoon, I didn't see many buses at all. There's no schedule for the buses. People are saying, here's somebody who commented, when will the bus schedule be posted so people in Mineola, New Hyde Park, and Maryland Avenue can plan their morning? Traffic is going to be terrible getting to Jamaica. Anyone going on an alternative line is going to be delayed, I'm sure. Those trains will be packed, especially if you send in trains that are 3 to 4 car shorts, which you usually do. Stuffed in like sardines. Please post a bus schedule. So a lot of people are annoyed that there's no schedule being posted. It's really just disturbing, and it took a while for them to even get buses last night. I think a lot of people got stranded. I'm sure the taxis were cleaning up pretty well last night as well. You know, I know it doesn't happen instantly that you get buses, but they should have had more buses last night. They have a MTA, I believe they still do, because they had when they were running Long Island bus, a bunch of what we call spare drivers, spare board, whatever. Get those drivers out here. Get those buses out of the city and get them here. So I finally did see some tonight, but it shouldn't have taken this long. You know, it shouldn't take more than, I would say, 3 hours to get buses on scene from the city. And of course they had some school buses too. The other problem, of course, is now, fortunately tomorrow is Columbus Day. It is a semi-holiday. However, still there'll be a number of people having to work. And while they're going to recommend people parking at other branches, the problem is a lot of these South Shore Babylon branch communities, as I told you before a while ago, have their parking restricted to residents only. Maybe that restriction will be lifted tomorrow because it's Columbus Day. I'm not sure about that. But in a case like this, I think that the MTA police need to come in and seize the parking lots in these towns, you know, Belmore, Merrick, and, you know, basically open it up to everyone. You know, overrule. In this type of situation, the town of Hempstead needs to be overruled, and the parking needs to be for everybody, because the main line right now is having a serious disruption. So that is it. That's what I have for you. They are working around the clock to restore this, but it just seems like there is always a problem with the main line, always a catastrophe. Meanwhile, the Babylon branch has the modern stations, has better service, and it hasn't had one of these major disruptions. I can't even remember the last time there was I think the last time there was a major disruption along the Babylon branch was when a tarp came loose from a water tower in Freeport and snagged power lines and onto the tracks, and that lasted, I think, for a day. I think, but that was it. I can't remember the last time Babylon has had these problems. This is why people choose to live along the Babylon branch. I can't blame them, but this, when you have this type of situation, that's why those communities get ridiculously expensive as far as that. So that is it for this Piney news. Let's hope they can get the service back. And then as far as Hurricane Matthew, actually we got a good amount of rain. I think we got up to an inch of rain. And we had a little wind too from Matthew. So I'll leave you with some scenes of the wind in Hicksville that we had today. Take it easy.